viewers, and welcome back to Top Shelf Disney Animation Studios Library, the show where we watch a bunch of Disney movies, not all Disney movies, the animated ones, not all the animated ones. We have a list, basically.
Yes.
I am one of your two co-hosts, Jeff, and returning again over there, live via satellite from thousands of miles away, thousands of ways. I can't even say my own plugs correctly, or my own words. These are sentences. TC, maybe you should just take over.
I'm TC.
There's
That's
TC.
Right. We are here to talk about animated Disney, in particular the Disney Animation Studios Library, which is specific to just over 50 animated films that does not include such classic favorites as Goofy Movie, Brave Little Toaster, any of the Pixar, any of the Studio Ghibli, and of course, not Song of the South, not in the list. That's not even an animated film. Stop trying to tell us we need to watch that movie. It's not even animated. It has animated sequences in it. You're killing me here.
I think people are going to keep saying. I think maybe what we'll do for our final episode is we will watch Song of the South. Just because
we'll just have to do a bonus where we do Song of the South. But no, we are watching the Disney Animation Studios Library, which started with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which is going to take us all the way to Moana and beyond. But today, what are we doing today, Jeff?
Today, we watched our second 1977 film because last week we watched The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This week we watched. I hit my microphone. The Rescuers.
That's
the original, not The Rescuers Down Under. Let's just get that. That's a couple episodes from now.
That gives us plenty of time to perfect our Australian accents. So when we do the Australians down under,
it's gonna be great.
Crikey.
Crocky.
No, it's just The Rescuers, 1977, Bob Newhart, and Ava Gabor.
Which is such a weird. Okay, let's just talk about that. Let's talk about the casting of this movie. There's a lot of regulars. First off, there's a lot of like returning people that we've heard their voices previously. But there's actually like Pat Buttram. He's been in a handful of the last couple movies we've been watching.
That's right there, Jeff.
But then also, and then even Ava Gabor, because she ended up doing was it 101 Dalmatians? I do believe that she was.
Oh no, she was Duchess in
Aristocats.
Yeah.
That's it. That's right. I couldn't remember which one it was. So we watch a lot of animals. There's a lot of animal Disney movies, so it's hard to keep track. It seems
they tend to be the successes. But yeah, we have Bob Newhart and Ava,
which is so like Bob Newhart it's such a weird casting choice for your main character, but at the same time it does make sense because he does well with the whole kind of nervous unsureness.
Yes.
I feel like Bob Newhart made a career off of that, portraying that type of character.
He's a nervous guy. Guy.
He's nervous man. All 12 of his shows that he created in the 70s were basically that. But it was such a weird when that credit came up at the beginning of the movie. I actually kind of paused for a second. I'm like, I didn't know Bob Newhart was the one that did the voice. And
you had not seen this movie before.
Correct. Going into this one, I've seen parts of The Rescuers Down Under, but this one I had never seen. This was completely new to me, and it was definitely it was not at all what I expected.
Okay,
I'm just gonna throw that out there. Not necessarily in a bad way.
Okay,
not in a bad way, just in a different way.
To stick on Bob Newhart as casting as Bernard, and I think that feels more like how Pixar casts their voice actors now. Because Pixar does not sell their movies on their voice actors' names. That's something that other studios do. And Bob Newhart is not an obvious choice. Maybe he was a more obvious choice in 1977, or I guess this movie took 3 years to make. But I like his performance in this character. Bernard himself is a neat little character, and Miss Bianca, who is the title character of the books that this is based on. Miss Bianca and the Rescuers, which is this book series that's being adapted here, the second book of the series is what is adapted to the screen. It's interesting casting because it doesn't feel obvious, but again, it might have been obvious in '77 and been like, oh yeah, of course these two would be. It's the Green. Isn't she on Green Acres?
Well, and that's the thing. Is like Bob Newhart at the point in the time that this movie was being made, and then when it came out, he was in the middle of the Bob Newhart show.
Yeah.
So I mean, which was on for like 6 years in the mid '70s. So he was still very much so kind of well known. I mean, he was well known already at that point. And yeah, Green Acres ended in '71, so Ava Gardner had already been like in the public's eye, and she was always kind of a little more around. So people were well aware of both of these two characters, and or sorry, these actors. So they were probably more fitting, like you said, more fitting at the time. Just nowadays, looking back at it, being that was the weirdest casting pair up. So strange. So strange. Now, so one thing that I did find out, because I did a little digging and just kind of some research on the movie itself, and it did turn out this actually, we kind of previously discussed that we're out of the age of Walt having having any kind of connection.
Right. His
the movies.
influence.
Yep.
Is gone.
That kind of happened with it was more or less what was the last one that we had. It was technically Winnie the Pooh had him connected to it,
right? But
those were
Robin
ones,
Hood.
but
Robin Hood, he was very, very tertiarily involved with in terms of that production, and Aristocats similarly, he was there for early stages of both those movies. But yeah.
Whereas this one, they actually started production on this film in 1962.
Okay, when he's still alive.
So he was still alive. So and they had a version of it. It is not at all what we just watched. It's a very different movie. It was a very, very different film at the time, and it ended up getting scrapped because he just didn't like it.
Oh,
and
okay.
so it sat on the shelf. And it wasn't until after he had died that they went, okay, let's take another shot at this. So there still is this, like, there's a little bit of Walt's influence because Walt was trying to make this movie, but he scrapped it. Let's go back to those movies that Walt was trying to make. So it's still not what are we going to do next? Let's just pick a random book and make it. Like it's not that. We're not completely out of the woods yet of Walt's influence, but which I thought was interesting because apparently the original draft of it was a very, very, very different film. At one point there was supposed to be like a kidnapped animal, like out of the zoo that they were going to try to recover, and all that stuff.
A polar bear, which would be that's the first book of the Rescuers series deals with a polar bear who's tricked into doing. I only briefly looked at the wiki for the book series to see what it was all about in the so.
So weird. Like I guess growing up, I never realized that this was a book series.
Oh, I didn't even realize it was a book series until today when I was researching it for this episode.
Well, what it threw me off was that during the opening credits, it was how did they credit it? They credited it as
suggested by.
Right, and I went, what does that mean? How is a movie suggested by another piece of work that doesn't does that technically mean that The Lion King was suggested by just like it's like what
or suggested by Hamlet depending
or Hamlet yep. So I didn't that's the first time I've seen that type of a credit in a movie, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. But maybe we should talk about the movie itself. So what do you think the movie was about? I'm doing that.
Okay, I see. That's cool. Okay, so this is a movie about.
I should have asked you what order you wanted to place it in your list. That's what I should have done.
You did say you were going to trick me into doing that one of these days. So the Rescuers, 1977, The Rescuers is the story of the Rescue Aid Society, which is a group of mice who are an international United Nations style rescue society. They help people in need. They help children. In this case, they help little Penny, as this little girl has been kidnapped, that has sent a message in a bottle asking for someone to come save her. And Miss Bianca, the mouse, volunteers her services and ropes Bernard, the janitor, into helping her to go rescue this little girl who is trapped in a bayou by Madame Medusa, who's trying to find One-Eyed Willie's treasure.
Which is so... Like, okay, first off, I love the concept. I love the concept of this movie. Like, I love that there's this whole little mouse run world that is a rescue agency. That was brilliant. I loved the opening scene where we're in the United Nations and all of these different representatives from the different countries are standing around looking at the board, trying to figure out when the meetings are, and then little mice version of all of them climb out of their bags and stuff and run over to their mouse-sized version of their sign and into their part. Like, I loved that. I thought that was so clever and so creative.
It has it's this weird reality where you can have a little sign that says Mouse UN, and no one's looking down at the floor and going, "What's that little? There's a little sign here that's." and we're in a world where animals can talk to other animals as well as talk to humans who can talk to them. Well, at least children. I don't get the impression that the adults could talk to the mice, but Penny could talk to them, which does go into a realm of Jungle Book. So.
Right, and that was a little off-putting, or not off-putting. That it kind of threw me for a loop when the dog. Or sorry, not the dog. The old cat.
Rufus.
Rufus. Thank
the
you.
Old cat, yeah.
When Rufus is talking to Penny, it actually for a moment there I was very confused. I'm like, wait a minute, is this? I didn't there because that was about 20 minutes or maybe 20-ish minutes into the movie or so when that first happens, and up to that point I didn't know that was even a thing. Like
right. You thought it was just going to be the animals talking amongst themselves.
Right, like standard, and like what we've already seen for previous Disney movies, like 101 Dalmatians and the Aristocats and all that stuff, where the animals don't talk to their humans. We hear them talking, but then they'll bark or they'll meow to their humans, and that's that's what the humans hear. Yeah,
we're in the fiction of Jungle Book and Cinderella, where the animals can talk to the humans.
Right,
or at least yeah.
The one thing that was kind of interesting was. So first off, I just want to say, like, the way this movie opened, you could already tell we're out of the golden age of Disney. Like, from what we've seen. The last 22 movies we've watched, they've always kind of had a standard opening. It's been also very bright. It's been very happy, upbeat. We get a lot of the live-action book openings, or even if that's not the case, it's just a big orchestral fanfare. And
an overture,
overture's playing. This movie opens, first off, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but one of our Disney first, this movie opens with a prologue.
Yeah, it was a cold open.
Credits. Yeah, there was a cold open that then played throughout the opening credit sequence and then continued the story. So the storyline kept going, which was just that was so like jaunting to me. I guess a little bit. It kind of threw me for a bit because I wasn't expecting that. I was like, all right, how's this going to open? Wow, this is really dark. Wow, it's kind of depressing actually. I kind of like this.
It set the tone immediately, and it was definitely a different thing. We'd never seen this. As much as these Disney classics we've watched up to this point do have their place, this felt like the opening of I hate to use this, but it's the best way I can explain it, a more legitimate movie. It didn't feel like, dun, 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 here's an animated film. It was, here's an animated film. I didn't mean to sing that, but
it came off great. It came off perfect. I liked it anyways.
But it felt more like a film. Like just a film in general, not a family film, not a kid, not a, you know what I'm saying?
The entire movie actually feels that way. That's the thing. That's the one thing I did realize while watching it. It didn't necessarily feel like a Disney animated movie to me. And I spent the entire time trying to figure out what it felt like, and unfortunately, I still cannot put my head to what this movie feels like. Not in a bad way, but just it's not. It feels like almost like a live action movie. Even with it being little mice, if you just pretend that the mice weren't mice and they were humans, this just felt more like a real movie.
Yeah, the opening itself, if you hadn't seen The Cold and came in while the credits were running, you could easily mistake it for a live action film.
Yeah.
Because the paintings that they used for the opening credits while that very 70s sounding song is playing it looks and feels like any ordinary film. It doesn't have anything that inherently said you're about to watch an animated film until the mice show up and get the message in the bottle.
And the drawing style, so we still have that little bit of that rough-ish, type look to it that we've gotten in a bunch of the previous films and for like the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 we've watched. But there is a much more realistic look to the movie as a whole. It doesn't have the abstract, designs that we've gotten in some of the more fairy tale Disney films like Cinderella or Robin Hood or Sword in the Stone. It's very much so real. The humans in it, except for Madame Medusa, the humans in it are all just they look like they've been rotoscoped actually.
Yeah. It does still follow the style we've been watching in the past. It's the Xerox film era. Now the advancements they've had here, though, is if you may notice, and this may go to that more realistic look you're saying, the blacks in this film there's less of them because they finally figured out a way to Xerox in shades of gray. So the outlines of the characters, the outlines separated that typically would separate the characters from the backgrounds in some of the previous movies we've watched are now blending closer together because it has this more desaturated palette to it. It still follows that sketchy style we've been seeing. I did find again looking up information about this just to discuss it, that the sketchy style that people were very aware of that from this 101 Dalmatians and Sword in the Stone. Critics and audiences were very quick to point out that sketchy look. And the old men, as they're known, some of the original animators of Disney Studios, took offense to that as a bad thing because they went out of their way to maintain as much of their artwork as possible, which meant less cleanups done by other people. So Ollie Johnston is one of the most classic animators of the Disney era. This might even be his last film. He animated Madame Medusa himself.
Just because of him only being able to... Was he the only one that was able to do it? Was that kind of the general idea?
Yes. So he I'm sorry, not Ollie Johnston, Milt Kahn.
Okay.
Yeah, he animated it by himself because he was the only one who could nail it, and it probably helped the fact that he had designed Madame Medusa after his hated ex-wife.
She did seem like she might have been like there might have been a little bit of personal influence on that character. That character. First, so you brought up Madame Medusa. I really kind of dug her as a character. She's very, very animatic, or animated. She's bouncing all over the place. She's very unique in the way she moves and her body. She does remind me a bit of Cruella de Vil.
Oh, certainly. Yes. Definitely. I'm glad that they didn't decide to make her Cruella de Vil, but she does have that wiry frame, and she's, as you said, very animated. She is a great looking villain.
Right.
Now, overall, her character and the premise of this movie, and this movie has pretty straightforward. It's not a very complex film. At its surface, I want to dig into something that I feel is worth analyzing later. But so that means Madame Medusa isn't the first villain you think of. It probably wouldn't be the 10th villain you think of. But she's animated so well. I really like the look and design on her, and her performance as well. She's a creep. She's a villainous villain. She's just a greedy monster.
Right. And that's exactly what she needed to be. She's not anything else over the top, or she's not anything else but just a villain. She's a greedy villain that wants the diamond. And that was the one other thing that I found was this movie feels, while it looks darker and it has a more gritty-esque like vibe to it, that 70s vibe, mixed also well with the, as you said, the classic folksy Carpenter's light music, which apparently they did ask the Carpenters to do it, but they weren't able to. They weren't able to do it schedule wise, and they apparently regretted both of that. Karen Carpenter regretted not being able to do the music for this, but it's obvious they had a sound in mind, and they still went that direction. But the film itself kind of teeters between it being this action movie and this, mystery and this heavy drama and a comedy and it felt like the Goonies at the last 20 minutes when they were trying to get the diamond back from the pirate, the pirate cave. It was a little weird because it did feel like it was all over and they couldn't pick. It didn't feel like one single genre, I guess, to me.
I agree that tonally it does jump around a little too much. This isn't as tonally a mess as something like the Aristocats, which I recall we discussed that Aristocats felt that they couldn't exactly figure out what they wanted to do. They were just mashing together as much as they could. And this one does verge into a similar messy territory tonally. I think that the hillbillies, the Bayou people who are helping them out, Ellie Mae and Nuke, and those characters coming to the rescue in the end, and I don't know, that didn't feel cohesive to me. It felt a little different. It didn't feel like the same movie to have them come in and have the wacky attacking the boat,
right? Because it seemed like it was what this seemed like is it seemed almost like it was a television show of three episodes that got spliced together and just they kept changing the structure of the show from week to week or something along those lines. Like, it was just a little confusing.
Funny you would say that because do you know the Rescue Rangers connection here?
I do, actually.
Yes.
That was it was an interesting little note for those of you guys listening, which is because I'm assuming there's people listening. It's not just TC and I talking to myself.
Even if it was, totally worth it.
Totally okay with this. But apparently there was going to be, prior to, and I guess this connects to The Rescuers Down Under, prior to The Rescuers Down Under being made, there was the plan to make a television show based upon the show, The Rescuers. And they had already had it was kind of in production to a degree, but then once they greenlit making The Rescuers Down Under, they scrapped the TV show, but took the concept and put in Chip and Dale and in the place of Bernard and Miss Bianca, and then retooled it into Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
Which could easily exist in the exact same world as The Rescuers.
It almost feels like it probably exists in the exact same world. Because what do you have? Chip and Dale looks like Indiana Jones and Magnum PI. It's like, okay, so there's this is that was just in a different part of this world, whatever this world is.
So
from the Rescuers.
You were saying earlier you couldn't quite pinpoint why this movie feels different or what this movie exactly feels like. In comparison to the history, the 20-plus movies we've seen before this.
Right.
Now, a large credit needs to go to animator Don Bluth. This is the first time that he was made the full art director on this film, as opposed to the assistant art director he has been since Sleeping Beauty. And
is that what it looks like? And it looks like his movies.
Yeah. So if you know the Don Bluth library, if you're familiar with All Dogs Go to Heaven and American Tail, Five Goes West, and a handful of his other films, Secret of NIMH is the first one he made after leaving Disney. He plays in a darker palette and a darker themes. He plays in a. It's not nightmarish by any means, but in a scarier place, a more mature place. And this movie feels like what Don Bluth went off and did when he formed his own company. In fact, this movie is when he decided he was done with Disney, because he was done with the system. He got promoted. He was the art director of this film, and at one point, while looking at the progress of the film, he noticed that oftentimes there were scenes where the whites of the mice eyes wasn't put in, so that mice just had black beady eyes, right? And someone higher up than him said it's it's too expensive. White is the most expensive color. It's too expensive to add that. So just stop questioning the system and do what you're told. And he was curious if that was true. So he did a little investigation with his buddy and found out that it wasn't any more expensive or inexpensive to animate with white than it was with any other color. And that idea of some bean counter telling him to just fall in line, that's when he made the decision that he was going to lay the groundwork for forming his own company. And after this, he is responsible for one of the mass exodus, the first mass exodus of Disney Animation Studios to go form what would be the Don Bluth movie studios, and the creation of Rats of Nim, and the first animated film to outgross a Disney movie. Like, there's some history there.
And oh man, thank you so much for bringing him up, because that is it. It's The Land Before Time.
Yeah,
that's what I see when I was watching this movie, because he directed it, and he produced it, and obviously he still had some hand in it. He didn't obviously write it, but it was still that's it. That was oh my goodness.
It's the darkness of his style of animation. That we would get out of the 80s were we to go venture over to his animated movies, which we will not, at least for this podcast. And his influence starts being so heavily influential on the tone and style of Rescuers, I believe will trickle into the next couple movies we see out of this era of films that we're watching. So there you go.
Interesting.
Don Bluth.
I am now I'm like replaying the entire movie in my head, going, duh, idiot. That's what it was. That's totally, it's that style. So it's his artistic style that he brought to the film that made it look so different than Disney. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I'm so excited about that.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Anyways,
now love it or hate it, this movie was the highest grossing Disney movie when it came out. This was the highest grossing animated Disney film in the history of Disney animated films. This movie outgrossed Star Wars in France and Germany. This movie was a certifiable smash hit.
Yep, because if you think about it, this movie came out in '77, same year as Star Wars.
Yep.
Which is just, oh man. And now why do you think that is? Why do you think why did it do so well? Was this because in '77 now you have a bunch of people who maybe grew up on Disney that were now adults, or young somethings, and they wanted something different? Or because this movie is one of those films that I don't think kids would get as much of a kick out of as older individuals or older viewers would.
I suppose we're asking a question we usually save for later in the cast, but it's definitely worth talking about now. Is that this isn't? I don't think I would sit a kid down in front of a screen to watch this, and the success of this movie surely must be this. So we're looking at the late 70s. We're looking at the counterculture that came out of the Vietnam era, and cinema itself changed throughout the 70s. That's when Scorsese and Kubrick, and you look at something like Clockwork Orange, or you look at Taxi Driver, the Apocalypse Now from Francis Ford Coppola. You're looking at a much darker era in content. I say it and it'll be apt, and you'll think I'm being silly, but if you think about it, I'm right. It's a sweatier era of cinema. It's a dirtier era of cinema, and that being reflected in something like The Rescuers, which albeit is still a family film, and there still is some Disney charm to this, and it does follow a lot of the classic Disney elements. It is a 70s movie. The soundtrack, the score, the tone of it, even the pace of the humor is not as punchy as we've seen up to this point. So I think the success of the film is because of the era of cinema that it came out in.
Right. And then we're hitting that era, like you were saying, where it is that dirtier and sweatier vibe, but there was also a long time there, especially, I think it's more prevalent in the 80s, where you got movies that were supposed to be made for kids, but had a much darker tone than what really it should have been if it was for kids. My movies in my head, these are all live action movies, but like I'm thinking of, like, honestly, The Goonies, and I'm thinking of Monster Squad as a favorite of mine, where it's a group of kids and it is kind of a kid's movie, but there's moments that a kid would not want to watch, or I wouldn't want a kid to see. You know, it kind of toes that line of not quite knowing which direction it wanted to go with it, and it makes a very unique movie that just is a little, not confusing, but it's interesting to watch and be like, why did you think that was a good idea? Like, who are you going for? Why?
I appreciate those movies that on their surface one would think were kids films, but then when you watch them, they're like, there's some kind of dark stuff going on here, or some more mature stuff that you wouldn't exactly purposefully bring to a kid's attention, but at the same time, there's some. If you look at Dark Crystal or The Labyrinth or like you say, Goonies, even the original Star Wars, which you could say, oh, that's for kids. There's Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen getting burned alive. There's a sexiness in Han Solo, and that style of storytelling, that family movie. That verges into darker territory that is questionable. I wish there was more of that. You look at Where the Wild Things Are. Where the Wild Things Are was not a kids movie. Mm-hmm. It was a kids book, but boy, when you make a movie of, was it who made that? Spike Jonze.
Spike Jonze. Yep.
That's made for millennials. That's not made for someone near the age of 30.
Right. Who would know the story from a child? Like I remember that story from a kid, and when I saw they were making a live action movie, I'm like, oh, that'll be interesting.
Not the cutesy movie you would have expected. But I wish there were more movies that did that, though. I wish Star Wars, for as much as I enjoy Episode 7, I wish they are missing that. I'll say yes. Okay, spoilers, I guess. I mean, who hasn't seen this movie? Like, yes, Han dies, and there's some elements. It's like the sexiness and the sexuality of characters is gone. Star Wars has been neutered.
Right.
If I don't mean to go off on a tangent here, but it's that something like that is missing from Star Wars, and that is fascinating about movies of the rescuers type. If you look at Labyrinth, I mean, hell, Labyrinth is one big sexual innuendo.
True.
Rescuers
has nothing to do with Bowie package, by the way. Nothing to do with his package.
It has everything to do with Bowie package. But Rescuers has. It goes to the question someone, I can't remember who tweeted at us last week, but the difference between a kid's film and a family film. And Rescuers, though I do think it's still a family film, it skews more towards a mature, more adult, darker themes. Even like the relationship, the budding relationship between Miss Bianca and Bernard, which is really cute and really feels natural, as opposed to the more cookie cutter forced relationships you get. Oh, I like Prince. He's handsome. Now we're going to be together forever. I think Bianca and Bernard have a much more realistic relationship. And they're mice.
And they're mice. They have a more human relationship than a lot of the humans in some of these movies seem to have. I feel like the problem nowadays with a lot of these franchises, going back to what you were saying about how they feel like they're missing what made them originally good, is Hollywood and filmmaking nowadays they're trying to play stuff safe, and this won't come into a rant regarding the way Hollywood works, because I am not a huge fan of it, and that's we don't need that here because we're talking about a good movie called The Rescuers. But basically, it comes down to, the studios want to make enough money, or they want to make as much money as possible. So what they end up doing is they end up kind of capping off, getting rid of the stuff that could be deemed too scary for certain age groups, or too kiddie or childish for certain age groups, and that's resulting in this movie that's kind of mid-ground. So that way it appeals to the widest audience, instead of it's either we have to appeal to the widest audience, or we have a very specific, this is our audience and that's it, and now you can do whatever you want inside that, which ultimately tends to be horror movies, it seems like. And even a lot of horror movies are still trying to appeal to the widest audience, which is the dumbest thing in the world.
With Rescuers, by taking the risk at telling a story like this, by giving it that, we'll call it a Don Bluth feel, to go back to would you show this to a kid? Were a kid to watch this and be interested in it, that is a kid that will very likely grow up to be interested in things like, we'll say Bones or Firefly or that Han Solo Princess Leia relationship. You have crime procedurals and the relationship that often the will they or won't they relationship of partners that's what Rescuers is. It has the same vibe as the will they or won't they from those shows I just mentioned, right?
Right.
And if you could if there was a kid who watched this and was truly engaged in it, you can see a very a rough path that kid's interests might fall into,
Right.
because Rescuers doesn't play to a lot of what the other Disney movies have had up to this point.
Yeah, it's got a couple little beats in it that are like, oh, okay, so it's a villain that's got like an animal sidekick, okay, and they're but it is at its heart, yeah, like you said, it's a procedural cop drama at its heart. An orphan is kidnapped, and they have to go and find where she's at and bring her home. Like that. How is that? That's not a Disney movie.
That's Mariska Hargitay.
Yeah. Our Disney movies that we've been watching so far are just completely different than that. That's not at all what this is.
We often say like we want to see the Donald Duck version of The Shining, or I want to see someone. Jeff, you need to cut a trailer of this like a Law and Order episode.
Oh man, I think that's completely doable. Actually, just saying. I might have to work on that one of these days. I think that threw me for a loop. And obviously, at the time, for the audience going to see this movie in the '70s, they didn't care. Granted, they didn't have cop procedural dramas like we do nowadays. They
Perry
did.
Mason.
Oh, I was gonna say there was a very different cop procedural dramas.
Yeah,
they were all courtroom dramas back in the '70s, and Chips. No, Chips was the '80s, I think. But it's so weird and it was so different to see this type of movie because we haven't had that. The movies that we have watched so far have been films where I guess there has been a kidnapping, but then it's just we're gonna go and get. I guess the 101 Dalmatians is kind of that same plot.
Well, you had said this wasn't what you were expecting.
Right.
What were you expecting?
I guess I don't know. The thing is that I didn't expect it to be, because I know you had mentioned last week that this one has kidnapping, like child kidnapping in it,
right?
And I went, oh, okay. I thought maybe, I guess it did happen that way. I guess in my head. I don't know. You know what? The weird thing was, I don't know what I was expecting out of it. When I sat down to watch it, I expected there to be a girl kidnapped, and I thought maybe it would be another kind of like 101 Dalmatians, where maybe the girl's dog goes after her, or not dog, or like maybe the mice are her pets or something, and they go after her trying to find her. Like I don't know what I was expecting. I didn't expect there to be this whole agency or this whole like mice UN that goes out to just save people or help people. That threw me for a loop. Also, I was not expecting there to be so much sadness in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And Penny is so dang cute, and it made me sad, and I cannot handle this sort of an emotion. I can't do it.
Let's actually talk about Penny, because I think she's different than any other protagonist we've seen so far. I don't know. What do you think about this? This is just something that I was noticing as I was watching it play out and in considering the characters. Now, obviously, Bernard and Miss Bianca, those are our main characters. Those are really our protagonists. But Penny herself, she's not a victim in that she plays the damsel, right? And she's not a kidnapped little princess. She's proactive in trying to rescue herself. She's the one who sends the bottles out time and again. She's the one who keeps actively trying to escape. And that's interesting to me, because it wasn't just her that felt a little more empowered than previous princesses. Now, don't get me wrong. We've seen empowered princess female characters before, but Penny felt a little different in just how, especially for her age, being just this tiny little girl. I'd 7 maybe. I can't remember if they said her age, but She's got gumption. She's got grit to her for someone who's just wants to be adopted, and she's got her little lispy voice, and she is so darn cute. But she also has no fear, and
Right.
and that's
She gets picked up by alligators, and
She's
it's just like
put me
just
down, put
yeah,
me down.
kind of just like crossed arm looking at, just like, I hate you. I can't believe I can't believe you caught me again. It's just, these are alligators, child.
Yeah.
I would be. I'd be messing myself, is what is what I'm trying to say here in the nicest way.
I can't think of a female character in particular before this that had as much that style of character to her. She's
Right.
Reminiscence. There's reminiscence of her in Lilo. If you want to jump ahead in your mind to Lilo and
Okay.
Stitch, just that no fear attitude. That you could see how strong she was despite being 7 years old, and it wasn't just her. Bianca is the leader between her and Bernard. Madame Medusa is the leader here. She does completely fall into that Cruella de Vil style of I'm in charge here. But Ellie Mae is in charge of all the Hicks. So there was a lot of females in this movie, in Rescuers here, that were the alphas, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but you see what I'm getting at, right? There was a lot of feminist empowerment. There we go.
And the thing that I think it's definitely something based upon the movies that I know are coming. I can't talk for the next couple of them, but especially once we hit Little Mermaid and then onwards, you start seeing that more and more, that type of a character, that proactive, strong-willed female.
Yeah, we've come
character.
a long way from Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
Princess Aurora with her 12 lines of dialogue.
Yeah. Now we're starting to get these characters that they're in situations they don't want to be in, and instead of just being like, oh, ho hum, I want to, I'll sit here and wait for somebody to come and save me.
You're right.
They try to find ways to get out of it, whether or not those ways work out, or there's obviously a lot of struggle, involving it. But I know that happens with Little Mermaid. I know that happens with Jasmine in Aladdin. And Belle with Beauty and the Beast. She's actually she doesn't like the world she lives in. She knows there's more, and she wants to go do it, and she tries, and she does, and she succeeds. It's like that mentality that it's not just Penny is not just a kidnapped girl in the wreck riverboat, which is the weirdest hideout in the world.
great set piece. Great.
Oh yeah, totally. She's not just sitting there like hoping someone's going to come and save her, because like you said, she tries to escape multiple times. And she even does what Madame Medusa and Mr. Snopes. Is that his name?
Yes.
Snopes.
Yeah.
She even does what they want, just because that way she's like, all right, fine, whatever. Now you're going to take me home, right? Like that's it. We're like, okay. So it's not her just pouting and saying, no, I'm not going to do anything and leave me alone and someone come and save me. It was nice to see that, even in a 6 or 7 year old little girl in this movie, who still I have to tell myself it's just paint and ink.
But she's so cute.
So dang cute in this movie, and it gave me all the feels, TC. All the feels in my heart was happening when she was sad.
I'm glad that Penny is developed as she is, and Bernard and Bianca their relationship is developed pretty well. However, there is the other characters. We just talked about Mr. Snopes. He is very underdeveloped. The hillbillies are very underdeveloped, and there's parts of this film as a whole that I feel would have benefited from a couple more scenes or more time with the characters. Snopes himself felt like I didn't know anything about him. Why was he there? What was his connection to Medusa? Was he out for himself? She betrays him. He was so underdeveloped, and the hillbillies were underdeveloped. Like, if they had gotten to the bayou and found a forgotten or an ignored branch of the Rescue Aid Society, these backwoods hillbillies, crash landing in the bayou, and where can we go for information? Oh, let's go. Apparently there's a branch of the Rescue Aid Society over here, and they find this shack of miscreants. there you go. You've just that little bit of extra to those characters develops them in just enough, just a little bit more. I know I'm rewriting
Right.
history here, but it's moments. It's the underdevelopment of Snopes, the underdevelopment of the Bayou people that left me wanting. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Wanting more, or wanting just a little bit more explanation, which I mean, and I am, like you said, I am glad that they did expand what they did, but it felt like they spent too much time developing certain characters and then just forgot about everybody else in the movie and just kind of went, well, all right, whatever, just yeah, they're fine, yeah, this is the bad guy, that's all you need to know, and she wants a diamond, that's it. Like that's kind of it felt a little lackluster in that department, and it was a little sad that they didn't explain more about that. I was trying to find. I thought that there was some. Comment that I was reading online regarding that, like the backwater people were supposed to be a missing branch of it or a forgotten about branch, but they ended up ditching the concept, and I can't be bothered to find it now. So
I think I know what you might be talking about, because there was. Phil Harris was initially going to be in this film as well, playing the leader of the Bayou people. So Phil Harris, who is Baloo the Bear, Thomas O'Malley, Little John, he was going to come in and be the leader of that group.
Was he going to play another bear? Because I don't think I know.
he was going to be a bullfrog, and they ended up cutting his full character because he was too funny, and they felt that he created a really weird tonal juxtaposition between the drama of Penny's story and rescuing her, and then you have this goofy bullfrog character cracking jokes and singing songs. I think that this movie still has a weird tonal, it's a little bit of tonal mess, and it's because those hillbillies, the Bayou people, they feel out of place. Like the one, Nuke is chugging moonshine and his eyes are
which I am not gonna lie, growing up as a child, I always thought if you drank alcohol you'd breathe fire and your eyes would do that little weird color swirly thing. I always thought that. I was greatly disappointed, folks, just from experience. It's one of those things where I wonder if the Bayou people had not been in the film, would it have still worked? It really, because they only show up for that end moment, right? As just like additional help, correct?
Yeah, they get the ride on the boat,
right?
Right. They get with Ermin. What's the dragonfly?
The dragonfly, right? Like it's one of those where if they had cut them out, I wonder if the movie would have been not necessarily better, but if just overall tonally it would have worked out better. Because those characters, I mean, there was actually one thing that I will complain a little bit about, though, was that when Bernard and Miss Bianca are show up originally for Penny and they're on the boat and they're developing the plan for how they're going to get her out,
yeah,
and then Madame Medusa wakes up and then the whole thing is just scrapped. That blew my mind for a split second. I was like, wait a minute, why? Wait. You just spent 5 minutes developing the plot, and then you went, oh, never mind, forget about that, and we just moved on, and it actually kind of hurt my head a little bit. I was trying to figure out, well, then why were we spending that time doing that if it was just a misdirect? So I wonder if they had ditched the Bayou people and out of the movie altogether, and that was actually the escape plan. Yes, I realize that they would have had to have gotten the diamond, but maybe that would have been the escape plan post getting the diamond, or something like that. Mr. Snopes has to fix the Madame, Medusa's boat car thing that she drives around on.
I want that, by the way. Whatever that
I do
thing
too.
is,
That thing looks awesome.
That Bayou motorcycle thing. Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if they had removed it, if it would have been a better, if the tonal shift wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah.
But
though I'm more from add. I wouldn't subtract from this film because everything that's here is what works is really working well.
Right.
There's the world that they've created. Miss Bianca and Bernard themselves are great characters. Great performances by Bob Newhart and Ava Gabor or Garber. But it's the underdeveloped stuff that, like I said, leaves me wanting. That I wouldn't trim out the stuff that wasn't working. I would find a way to develop it further in a perfect world. Now, maybe we'll get more development from everything when we get to the sequel of this film.
And that's the thing. I am now very interested in seeing the sequel. I really want to watch part 2 now, having seen part 1, just to see, well, where do they go with it? What happens? Is there development? Yeah. I also want to compare the quality of animation shift in the 13 years between the two movies.
It's incredible to think that in this 10 we're watching now, we're getting both Rescuer movies because
exactly
the 70s feels so far removed from the 90s, and it is. But when you look at the library, they have so few films coming out now compared to the rapid fire we were getting before. Well, right. Yes, we did get 2 movies in 1977, but Winnie the Pooh is cheating.
It's cheating because those were pretty much already finished prior to it being released. It was just a package film. Hashtag package
film.
I got to do it again. I'm happy. But yeah, I want to see. I can't wait, and I'm really glad that it's only a few more episodes away. Really, it's what, another maybe 5, 6. It's after Little Mermaid, so
yeah. I actually had a question about of all the movies we've watched so far.
You did it to me. I was gonna try to beat you to the punch. I was waiting for you to finish talking, and I was like, "Oh, TC, where would you rank it?"
You'll just never trust me again. Eventually we'll reach a point where I'm going to ask, but then again, you'll throw it at me at the very beginning of an episode one of these times.
I won't trust you when we're talking, not even while we're recording. I'm just going to be waiting for you to be like, "So, of all the conversations we've had just now, where would you rank this one?"
Yeah, I mean, I have a sense where this is going to go. You probably have a sense where I'm going to put this as well, but I'm curious. Because you had never seen this before, what you walked away from this, you've sit down and engaged in it. In previous films, you've said often if you have a lot of notes, that's a bad thing. Just generally, when you finish this movie or as you're watching it, where did your heart land?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, it in my head, it wasn't the movie I guess I was expecting, but at the same time, it kind of was. So when the film ended, I was happy with the end. I loved that, there's another note at the end that there's somebody else that we have to go rescue, and off they go. And, so that way in my head, it's like, okay, this is never going to end. This wasn't just a one-time thing. They're going to keep going. They're out there saving people or helping people or rescuing people.
Bernard and Bianca, rescuers. Bernard and Bianca. Yes, he doesn't
doesn't roll off the tongue as smoothly as as Chip and Dale.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there wasn't anything that I hated about the movie. I wasn't bored with the movie. I thought it was fine. I thought it was fun. And I'm personally, TC, I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it at number 2.
Oh, you're putting it above Robin Hood.
I'm putting it above Robin Hood.
Okay.
Because again, so now it's starting to get a little complicated because now it's like, okay, which movie? Dang it! Keep hitting my microphone. Which one? I talk with my hands even when no one is watching me, guys.
It's
and
true.
Gals.
It's true.
But like, it's. I would definitely watch The Rescuers before I'd watch Robin Hood.
Okay.
Again, like in a heartbeat. I like not that Robin Hood was terrible. This was more enjoyable for me. It had a good mix of comedy and the action and the drama and all the feels. It's all the feels, TC.
All the feels, little penny.
All the feels.
It's little penny.
At the same time, I still did like Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, just a hair more than I liked The Rescuers. So I'm putting it at number 2. TC, where are you gonna put it on yours?
Well, I do really like this movie. It was a surprise to me. I have seen this before, but I remembered very little of it, and I was happy to return to it and happy to sit down and watch it again, engaged in it with a new lens, specifically for discussing it with you, but also in watching it with the rest of the movies we've seen up to this point. And it's got some wonderful stuff in it. I'm happy that it wasn't a terrible dynamic shift from Winnie the Pooh to this, that though we are in an odd era now, I think dubbing this the Dark Ages at this point isn't fair. It's certainly darker, and it certainly doesn't have the same flair and color and joy of Disney up to this point, but it's not bad at all. Like this movie has a lot of good in it. That being said, the music feels really dated to me. The underdeveloped aspect of some of the characters didn't quite do it for me, so I'm going to make this currently my number 3. So we made it 1 week having the same list, Jeff.
Oh man, TC.
But at least our number 1 is still Winnie the Pooh.
Yep.
Until
for now.
For now. But yeah, it's not that I dislike this film. I don't want anyone to. But if you've just sat and listened to us talk for 45 minutes, you can clearly see where the love is and where my complaints are, and it's still great. This movie was. I did not remember much of this film. I was really, really happy with Penny as a character. I really liked the relationship between Bernard and Bianca, and it excites me that we're going to see these two characters again. The Rescuers Down Under, as we'll discuss when we get to it, is the first true. It's a sequel. It had never been done before. It's
the first time that that Disney ever made a true sequel to one of their own projects. Yeah, and that's awesome. So that's a Disney. That was my one first for this week's episode because I really didn't have any. Oh no, sorry, I did a prologue before the opening credits. That's the first time they've ever did that. So those are my firsts for this week.
Well, Jeff, there is another first that I cannot believe you ignored.
Well, first off, real quick, did you see Bambi and his mom?
Yes. Okay.
Anyways,
no, that's right. There was a Goofy howl. There was a Goofy howl as well.
Yep. So the Disney tropes. Yep. Mm-hmm. I had the villain as animal sidekicks. The villain has an animal sidekick and/or henchman, and the Goofy yell. The Goofy yell appears. Does it not appear twice in this movie?
I only heard it the once when it's from Orville, which we didn't really talk about. Orville, what a fun character.
the plane. Pelican or bird? What is he?
Albatross. Because there were elements. Bernard had this underdeveloped idea that he was superstitious. So there's the 13 rungs on this ladder. There's 13 steps on this. The movie takes place or finishes on Friday the 13th. Like he's a nervous fella. But yeah, there's the Goofy howl with Orville, the albatross, and albatrosses are also unlucky. If you know the Mariner, the Rhyme of the Mariner, the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, the classic ancient poem where albatrosses used to be signs of good luck, and a mariner kills an albatross while out on sea, thus turning the albatross into an omen of ill will.
Interesting.
Little literary history there for you.
Well, apparently everybody loves any kind of literary history or origin story, so that's perfectly okay with me, TC. Keep doing those.
But I did see Bambi's mom as well, and the bird right after, too. They actually used a little more animation than they have.
Just pulling it all together. But what is the first, TC? You said that there was a first. What did I miss?
This is a huge first for Disney, one that we will see at least a half dozen more times if memory serves.
Okay.
The first sexy scandal.
Oh, are we talking about the still from the
when
frame?
Rescuers was released on video, 2 frames of a topless woman were snuck into the background of one of the shots. And they had to do a recall of over 3 million VHS copies of this tape, of this film, because someone had snuck in. They never said who it was. Disney has never done any sort of press release of who was responsible. But the first sex scandal for a Disney animated film.
For a Disney animated film, and it's 2 frames. The thing is only in the movie for 2 frames. It is a topless woman. It's when they are first when Miss Bianca and Bernard are on the albatross, and they're just still trying to fly out of New York. And that the moment that it happens in is only 3 seconds long, even in the movie, and it's a shot of them of Bernard freaking out, and just in the background of the windows there was a topless woman that nobody ever would have seen, in any other way, but just on
the power of the pause button back in the day, my friend. We have entered the VHS era with this film. Now, to be fair, not the 70s. Okay, this was when they released it. They re-released this into theaters twice after the success of it in '77, and the home video market didn't come around until the '80s. Now, little history lesson for you here, Jeff, if you don't mind me talking about the home video era.
Okay.
The home video era, VHS, it only came around in the 80s, so that's not a long time that home videos have existed when you really think of the grand scheme of cinema. And the home video era was going to kill the cinemas. It was the death of, just like TV was the death of film, just like talkies were the death of cinema. The home video was the death of cinema. But here's the thing: movies were constantly re-released into theaters to make more money. The Rescuers being released 3 times in theaters. Cinderella, right. Bambi. Bambi was re-released in theaters 4 times. It was something that companies could do for a cheap, easy way to make more money, because home videos did not exist. Television playback did not exist. You could only see the movies in cinema. It was a special treat. So when VHS came around, the home market for that, VHS, when they originally came around, were $80 to $100 for a video, a VHS, Jeff. $100, $80.
I remember buying Home Alone, and I remember my parents spending like $45 for that on video when it came out.
That? Now, this idea was that because people weren't going to come back and see a movie released in theaters, you needed to make up for the box office that wasn't being sold. So we'll sell now back in the 80s when VHS began, movie tickets were under $3. So to sell a movie for $80, you are assuming that people are going to see this movie a lot. I don't know who did the math on it, but it feels wrong to me.
Obviously, they didn't know any better. In their head, they're like, well, yeah, we're not going to get the people coming to the movie theater anymore to see this repeatedly, so they're not going to be spending, I guess, man, but even 10 times to get $30 out of the person would be insane. Yeah. Like, that's that's stupid. Somebody moved a decimal point or added an extra zero and stupidly was okay with it. I guess that's the only way that I can think about it, or I can see it.
Well, the VHS that changed home video release was Top Gun, because when Top Gun was released on VHS, it was $20, which is pretty much what you would pay for a DVD now if you weren't buying out of the $5 bin at Walmart or Blu-ray even. And it was because Diet Coke put a commercial at the beginning of the VHS. So you had to watch a Diet Coke commercial before you watched Top Gun. And that advertising space changed the price on home video.
Which is so weird, but I do remember like my Batman VHS tape back in the day had like the Coke commercial before the movie, and I do remember there being actual commercials prior to the home videotapes that I watched, which I always thought, I guess I never thought of being weird as a child, but now looking back at it, I'm like, well, it's not weird. I get it. That was just free marketing, especially since, or not free marketing, but that's how they were.
Space. Yeah.
It's ad space. And it's the exact same thing that we're getting now in movie theaters when you go see a movie, and before the trailers start, there's 15 minutes of commercials, and then there's the trailers, and then the movie starts like a half hour later, basically.
It's not about the art, Jeff. Movies are a business.
But it needs to be about the art.
It's a shame. So I know that was a long tangent to talk about home video, but it's because because of home video and the genesis of the pause button, that a couple of jokers making the video copies of this would sneak in 2 frames of some boobs so that they could go home and tell their friends, hey, pause the movie right here. Don't boobies. Right?
In this Disney animated movie?
It's a weird thing, Jeff. It's a weird thing. It'll be a trope at this point. I think we'll have to call it a Disney trope, because this is going to happen a few more times.
It happens quite a few more times. There's definitely some more scandals, sex scandals-esque, just like shocking things that will happen with some of these movies. And I'm sure we'll definitely be discussing events around Aladdin and Little Mermaid, because I can think, and Lion King, because I can think of a few of them through that era. So look forward to those conversations.
Yeah. So I am curious to hear what the listeners have to say about The Rescuers. It's another one of those movies that I don't feel like jumps to the front of people's minds when they think of the Disney Animation Studios library, but it was one of the highest grossing movies of the year it came out. It outgrossed Star Wars in a couple countries. This was a big damn deal, this movie. So I'd like to think maybe our older listeners, and I don't mean that in an offensive way if anyone listening is like, how dare you? I just mean our people who are
I am 27.
might have a feeling or two about Rescuers in particular. But for those of you who got a chance to rewatch it, I know that we did have a comment on the Facebook page from a new listener, which
yes, Andrea.
Andrea, thank you for listening, Andrea. You commented to let us know that you are watching this in preparation for our discussion. So I am curious to hear what you have to say and what everyone else has to say. And if you're listening to this on Facebook.com/Top Shelf Pod. Damn, then you can.
You've been doing so well, sir.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to mess up. You're allowed to mess up once. It's
okay,
fine.
okay.
Only once though.
I can't
you do it again. You're kicked off the show.
I'm fine. You can comment in the specific comment section for The Rescuers, or if you go back and hit up any of the other episodes we haven't that you didn't get a chance to talk about. We're always happy to engage in the conversations on the Facebook page, or you can tweet at me at TC's Big Head, or you can tweet at Jeff at Random Bell. I didn't get any tweets this week, but that's fine. We had okay. 5 last week, so
we had quite a lot last week, and there was a lot of conversation that was happening on the Facebook too.
Yes,
I did notice that, which was definitely awesome. You guys are awesome for talking to us and talking mostly to TC. TC's the one that responds most of the times, because by the time I get back to it, it's just like,
You can feel free to comment as well.
I know.
But
maybe I will. But I don't want it to be, like, oh, everyone's loving Jeff. No one loves TC. I got to let them all love you, sir. You're the one they love. It's not me.
I have this desperate need for attention. It all makes sense. Validate me. Validate me. You can also check out Lindsay and Colin's Oscar podcast that they've been doing for Top Shelf, where they've been watching the Best Picture show. It's the Best Picture showcase, right? And commenting on their threads as well as listening to their episodes, which I'm surely sure that they appreciate. And
yes, again, I just talked to Colin this weekend, and he they're gonna try to start doing some more. It's been a really busy summer, obviously, since we were gone for a while as well. This summer, it's hard to kind of keep them going and keep everyone's schedules running smoothly. As it is, we are recording this episode sooner than we normally would have, just because schedules.
I'm hitting the road. I'll be in Denver, Chicago, and Milwaukee in the coming weeks, actually. But that could very well mean that Jeff and I are in the same room together next week.
And we'll record those episodes by me sitting in my bedroom and TC sitting out in my living room, and we won't actually be in the same room.
Don't talk to me.
That'd be weird.
What are we watching next week?
So next week we are jumping a few more years into the 80s. We are smack dab now in early 80s by watching the 1981 The Fox and the Hound.
Fox and the Hound. Jeff, have you seen Fox and the Hound? Tell me no. Please say no.
I have no knowledge of this movie at all. So this one is also let's take a I don't know what I'm expecting out of this one.
I have only seen this movie once before. We had it when I was little. And, well, you know what? I'll save it. I'm looking forward to talking about this one with you. So so that's Fox and the Hound next week. Is that streaming anywhere?
The Fox and the Hound? Oh, you know what? I should have looked that up. I believe because now we're hitting the movies from the Disney Disney's list here that are usually streaming on Amazon Video. Actually, yes, it is for $2.99 on Amazon Video right now. You can watch The Fox and the Hound.
Nice. Oh, I did forget to ask. Where did you watch Rescuers? Did you watch it on Amazon?
I did not. Okay. I had a copy. I found a copy of it that I was able to watch.
There is a Criterion collection of The Rescuers, which also proves its viability as a film. The Criterion collection has a version of it.
That's so weird.
So Fox and the Hound is streaming on Amazon if you want to give that a watch, or dust off your old copy, because this is one that I do recall lots of people having. I had it when we were growing up. Cool.
I'm excited to see it. It's going to be fun. And perhaps next week we'll be recording together. We don't know. It's kind of hard.
Part of me almost wishes we weren't, but that'll be part of the discussion next week.
So, well, thank you, TC,
Yes.
for joining us. Was there anything else that you wanted to say before we ended this week's show?
No, I'm good. I'm excited to hit the road. I'm leaving tonight to hit the road. So
fantastic. Well, then we need to go so that way he can leave. Guys, we are all keeping TC at his house. We need to let TC go. We are being
it's 100 degrees here right now. I'm dying.
Well, come where I'm at. It's only 96. It's colder here. It's cooler by the lake. Well, then, thanks, TC, for joining us this week. Jenks, I'm glad to be here as well. Thanks, everybody who are listening to us, coming back and doing all the conversations. That's all great. And we shall see you guys next time. TC, do the sign-off.
This is a sign-off.
I love that so much.
Nailed
okay,
it this
everybody.
time.
Nailed it. No mess-ups. Score. Love it. All right, thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
We'll see y'all next week. Bye. This has been a production of Ghost Hat Media, proud member of the Ghost Hat Network. Find them online at www.ghosthat.net.
I like the ending.